He was indicted Friday on more charges as the number of victims had nearly doubled. The Charles County State's Attorney's Office announced yesterday a 206-count indictment for Carlos D'Angelo Bell, 30, a stark increase from the 119-count indictment handed out in late July, but being accused of assaulting 42 juveniles. The ages of the alleged victims at the time the offense were committed ranges from 11 years old to 17 years old, according to the state's attorney's office. And of the 42 victims, officials said they have identified 28 juveniles and 14 remain unidentified. The ex-school aide is accused of sexually abusing his victims at Benjamin Stoddard Middle School at his home and possibly at other locations between May 2015 and June 17, according to police. And La Platte High School, as a track coach, he was removed from the school when the investigation was launched, according to Fox 5 there locally. While Bell allegedly sexually assaulted students while not wearing protection, the state's attorney's office said that they were not aware of any of the victims testing positive for HIV. Investigators said that a concerned parent checked her child's phone and found inappropriate text messages in connection with Bell in November. Authorities launched an investigation in December, and Bell was removed from La Platte High School and his coaching job on December 22nd. In a search of Bell's work computer, it didn't reveal anything suspicious, but police said a search of Bell's home, computer, and electronic devices turned up child pornography, according to Fox 5. You know, school used to be a safe place. And now you got coaches, teachers having sex with students. And how disgusting. It's disgusting enough to have sex with minors, but then to be HIV infected himself, and if none of them have come down with it or have tested positive for HIV, they are lucky. But 42 children. OMG. A track coach. Coach, count me in. Let me have sex with you. State's Attorney's Office said that the charges against Bell include 22 counts of sexual abuse of a minor and 19 counts of second-degree sex offenses. 19 counts of second-degree sex offenses, 7 counts of third-degree sex offenses, 97 counts of child pornography, and other offenses. And if convicted of certain crimes listed in the indictment, the state's attorney's office said that it would seek life in prison for Bell. He is currently being held without bond and is scheduled to be in court on January 8th. What a sicko. I wonder if he'll have a private cell. I think that Bell needs to be in the main population. I think that the inmates need to know exactly what he did. You see, there's a little thing in prison. When you abuse children and you do things like this, they kind of take care of problems, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't think that, because a lot of the inmates in prisons, they say that they have kids, it's known. And so when you rape a child, they'll hurt you. They'll kill you. As a parent, I just don't know what I would do. That is just, to me, that is death penalty. You violate it. You abuse a child. There's a scripture somewhere in the it's in the New Testament, that if you abuse one of God's children, it would be better that you'd have a millstone tied around your neck and buried in the deepest ocean than to abuse one of Jesus's little ones. This was more than one. 206 count indictment for Carlos D'Angelo Bell from Maryland. I'm sick to my stomach. I don't even know if I can eat lunch. Dear God. Yeah, I wish they'd give him Old Sparky. I wish they'd cook him. I don't know, some people say, well, you know, what happened to him? What happened to D'Angelo? You know, the psychobabble. People feel sorry for him. Something happened to him. He was sexually abused, and, you know, you can't, I'm sorry. He's an adult. And maybe there's some truth to that. You become an abuser, and then you don't. But his behavior, what he did, God knows how these children have been affected sexually, you know, in their minds, and knowing they've been violated that way and haven't been able to say anything, and now have to go through the court, and they're going to have to testify. Then how many children haven't spoken up? How many, like the Weinsteins, you know, there's plenty of other actresses that were used in entertainment. Come on. We've had some notables step up to the plate and have finally confessed. Well, there's got to be hundreds or thousands of people that have been sexually fondled and molested, you know, in Hollywood and all this other stuff. It's just, I have no tolerance for it whatsoever. I think it's horrible, and there's a breakdown in society like this, and it's at its worst here. But I wish to God in Maryland that they take sexual deviants like this and they put them in the worst place in prison, and they cook them. It's like the Green Mile where Percy, yeah, I've watched the Green Mile more than once. It's a great movie. But there was a certain way to execute, and you had to have a sponge on the head before they put the conduit, the helmet on that would make sure that the lightning bolt or the electricity would be sent through the entire body. Well, what happened was Percy did not wet the sponge properly, and this guy really felt the wrath of the electricity. It stunk up the whole room, cooked his brain. He caught on fire. I mean, it was disgusting, and it didn't kill him instantly. He was just in like massive pain. That's what should be done. We should get Percy to execute him. I mean, man, as a parent, right? As a grandparent, even if you're not, violate a child, Lord have mercy. An armed burglar breaks into an office. They say he didn't make it out alive. That's right. Baltimore police officer's house, of all places. Broke into the wrong place. What happened? The break-in occurred in the Frankfurt area of Baltimore, if you know that area, around 11:30 a.m., according to the Baltimore Sun. The unnamed officer was sleeping and was awakened by the intruder, who reportedly confronted him. According to police, the armed burglar demanded money from the officer. What did the officer do? Began wrestling with the burglar, angling to get a grip on the intruder's gun. Police said the officer disarmed the intruder and turned his own gun on him, fatally shooting him. The Sun reported that the officer was at home alone at the time of the botched burglary, phoned 911 to report the incident. The suspect was transported to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. What's being said? Well, police told the Sun that the investigation's ongoing and would not release details about how the suspect reportedly gained access to the officer's home. Captain Jared Jackson of the Baltimore Police Department said what makes this investigation different from other police-involved shootings, is that the police officer in this incident was the victim of burglary, and he wasn't working. He didn't have his body-worn camera on. He wasn't responding to a call for service. And I guess on his home, it didn't say I'm a cop. And maybe his cop car wasn't there. Who knows? A lot of unknowns about that. Because a lot of officers, they have their vehicles parked. I see it all the time in neighborhoods all over in Tampa where the officer drives his vehicle and there they are. But, folks, people will continue breaking into houses. And believe me, I am a huge proponent of gun ownership. Have a gun handy because you never know if somebody breaks into a cop's house or any house. I mean, you got to have something to protect your family and yourself. Because if he did not have something, he'd been overtaken and he'd been killed. Because it's clear in the story, the intruder had a gun. And if you ever watched a martial arts film, doesn't matter how much that stuff you know or how good you are with your fist, you can't outfist a bullet. It'd be nice to think that somebody could do it, but only in the movies. Only in the movies, folks. I encourage you, no matter how old you are, go to a shooting range, find a gun that works for you, know how to use it, and listen, if you're not a good shot, word of advice, get one with a scope, or a laser one, where you just aim it where that laser is, that's where the shot goes. X marks the spot. It's either your life or their life. Who are you going to choose? Yeah. You protect yourself, and plenty of senior citizens are doing it, but you don't have to just be a senior. Don't be a sitting duck. Have something readily available. I know your kids, you don't want them to get a hold of it. There's proper ways to stow these things so they don't go off. There's proper ways to educate your kids, and there's plenty of kids that know better to ever pick up a gun, and they're just fine. A lot of it's for the education. You got a kid that never listens, that's an issue. But you could still own a gun nevertheless. You don't grant access to the kid, and you can have a security code. There's a lot of different security apparatuses built in so accidents don't happen. Learn about them. Educate yourself about them. Protect yourself. Protect your family. You just never know. You could be the next one. You say, I hear of things happening in the Bay Area all the time of break-ins. And a lot of these thieves, they'll do it during broad daylight. Oh, yeah. Because a lot of times they think nobody's home. They're at work. So if your car is in the carport, they don't know that. They think you're at work. Maybe you live alone. And there's no action going on. They're looking in the windows. Nobody looks home. But you're home. Be prepared, folks. Hey, I have been talking for the last couple weeks about these coffee cups, and I am still as excited as the day we commissioned them. And it hasn't been that long. It hasn't even been a month. And if you haven't got your For the People coffee mug, it is a great way to say I like the show, but a great way to keep the show on the air. And if you buy your coffee mug, that's exactly what happens. $20 with a For the People logo. Red, white, and blue. Looks great. Very patriotic. And it's 11 ounces. And I only use 8 ounces of coffee. But, hey, listen, if you like the fullest cup of coffee, top it off, and there you go. And there's nothing like listening to the show. Some of you on YouTube, you watch the show. But you have the coffee cup companion. And they go hand in hand. So if you're a For the People listener and you don't have a For the People cup, feel left out. Seriously, because I have one right in front of me. As a matter of fact, let me hit it. That's it. What does it look like? Well, you know what our logo looks like at forthepeopleshow.com. You click on the coffee mug. You'll see me proudly behind the American flag with an American flag on the cup. You just click on the cup and you can order it. $20, $3 shipping and handling directly to you. And I'll be glad you did. Mysterious discrepancies and Tillerson photographs. Have you seen this one with the Afghan president? This is unbelievable. An apparent crude attempt, as what experts are saying, to alter photographs of a meeting between Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and the Afghan president. Close inspection by the New York Times, they investigated this. They found significant discrepancies in the photographs.